Dream lose 72-60 to the Seattle Storm. Let's talk about the game. Now, Seattle is at 500, but they have Sue Bird back in addition to the usual weapons that they're famous for. Atlanta is 7-5, but they haven't really beaten anybody threatening just yet. Maybe LA. Tanisha Wright is back in her old stomping grounds, Seattle being where she won a WNBA championship back in 2010 against the Atlanta Dream, no less. Alongside Sue Bird, so there's a little bit of a reunion here. It's a finals that I remember very vividly, Atlanta's first taste of the finals, and that took place in my second year as a WNBA fan and Atlanta Dream fan. Well, now that we're done with the reminiscing, after a little bit of back and forth in the first, Jewel Lloyd starts the scoring with 7 points to start. She has all 7 of Seattle's points so far. Erica Wheeler, unfortunately, goes down and isn't getting back up. It looks like an ankle injury. She had to take the entire rest of the game off, and I'm not sure when we'll be seeing her again. Aari McDonald gets fouled under the Seattle net. Jewel Lloyd catches her with an elbow. It looks like the Judas effect from Chris Jericho. But Aari gets the foul? Well, that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Atlanta has been struggling to stay out of foul trouble anyway, but what else is new with the Atlanta Dream, right? And at least their turnover rate is lower, though. They're on par with the Storm, both at 3 with 3 minutes left. Now, both teams did manage to stay close in turnovers, but Seattle still leads 20-15 after 1, so it's not just turnovers that we can blame for Atlanta trailing. Jewel Lloyd is just taking complete control of this game, and she has Sue Bird and Breanna Stewart to back her up. Not that she really needs them just yet. She has 13 points, and everyone else on the Storm who has points has no more than 3. So if this team can limit the turnovers, Atlanta can definitely have a short night here, especially if they can keep limiting Ryan Howard like they have been. Now, Atlanta starts the second quarter with excellent zone defense, not allowing Seattle to score, but they are prone to steals after retaking possessions. But at least they're stopping Seattle, and they get to within 1 point. Nia Coffey picks up a rebound and takes the lead, and Seattle gets it right back, but hey, at least the Dream got there. Now, they're staying in it, but they just can't stay out of foul trouble. Too many players, including Aari McDonald, have 2 fouls, some of them have 3, and a lot of it is on offense. On the other hand, Breanna Stewart picks up her 3rd personal foul late in the second. Atlanta only trails by 1 to end the half, and I'm a little bit surprised here. They're still leading in turnovers, but Seattle is committing a lot of their own. They're not able to score on all of them, but they're still scoring. Well, except off the bench. Seattle at this point only has 2 points off the bench. The Dream have 11. Now, the Dream get into even more foul trouble once the third quarter starts. Nia Coffey gets Breanna Stewart in the face with her elbow as she takes a shot, and now she has a flagrant foul. Once again, I think somebody is watching a little bit too much Chris Jericho. You can't just Judas affect players like that. Atlanta has 14 fouls to start the third. Their 21.4 fouls per game is the worst in the league, and now the Storm are starting to really take advantage. They're in the bonus already to start the third, and the Dream's depth is going to get one hell of a test. Atlanta commits a shot clock violation, calls a timeout, and then commits another one right afterwards. Aari McDonald gets her 5th foul. I'd be very surprised if we see her again in this game. Ezi Magbegor is blocking everything. I hope I pronounced that right. Atlanta commits their 3rd shot clock violation of the quarter. Seattle starters are still doing all the scoring. Epiphany Prince has the only 2 bench points for the Storm, so even if they get slowed down at all, that bench is going to be pretty well rested and ready to go. 3 minutes left in the third, and Christy Wallace makes Atlanta's first 3-pointer of the game. Of course, it happens with 1 second left on the shot clock, but at least it happened, so there's still some hope that they can come back, right? 60-47 Storm after the third, thanks to Jewel Lloyd getting a 3 to beat the buzzer even though she was completely surrounded by red jerseys. The fans are loud as hell, and it's really awesome to see. Anybody who says that nobody gives a damn about the WNBA, they got to go to Seattle, all right? It's only Tuesday, and these fans are showing up, and they are fantastic. And also, on a related note, fantastic announcers as well. Elise Woodward and Dick Fane are the best announcers I've heard this season so far. Now, despite the score, the Dream are out-rebounding the Storm by double digits, so, hey, there's something. And Breanna Stewart is 1 personal foul away from being ejected with half a quarter to go. These rebounds by Atlanta and caution taken by the Storm to avoid fouls is starting to pay off. The Dream, who once trailed by 17, now they're only trailing by 4. But Seattle still isn't letting it slide. Atlanta's defensive coverage has some holes, and they're prone to getting screened. Seattle just goes back to piling it on, and the game ends 72-60. Once again, I feel like I'm kind of repeating myself, but the Dream did absolutely do a lot well in this game. But it just couldn't translate into a win with all the fouls and defensive lapses they were taking. I think the best way that I can describe the 2022 Dream is that they're jobbers to the stars, if I may borrow a wrestling term. They beat who they're expected to beat. Maybe they beat teams that were expected to give them a little bit of a challenge, like Dallas, for example. But against teams like Vegas or Chicago or Washington, they just can't get the job done. If anything, they're doing the job. And yes, I know wrestling is fake, basketball is real. It's just an example. Put down your steel chairs, all right? I'm just saying they can win when they're expected to, but that's it. Tanisha Wright can take this team places. She can probably even take them to the playoffs. Can they win a series? It's not looking like it, but this team is still young. They're still acclimating themselves to each other. There's still a lot of raw talent there. It can come together. Tanisha's a former WNBA champion, after all. The next game is Friday against Phoenix Mercury, speaking of fellow enhancement talent, and I'll see you then.